the Italian Football Podcast.
Let's ask the big question for Inter. Can Inter win the treble now?
Really? I mean, I don't know. Nah, I don't think so. Look, I'm standing by my position.
Can they win the quadruple, as Inzaghi said?
Yeah, I mean, he was. I love that little smile with the finger, first the three fingers, which became like that screenshot became like everyone was using that, and then we saw the quadruple. Then he clarified it. No, I'm going for we're talking about a quadruple. He's having fun with it, isn't he? He's relaxing much more. He's much more assertive and comfortable in the role he has at Inter, and that's why he allows himself to say these things. He's having fun with it. You know what he said, and if we go away from the three fingers and four fingers and this, that, and the other, what he actually said is the fact that we at this stage of the season are in all three competitions, with a chance to win all three competitions, is a source of pride for us, and that is true. He should be proud of that. He should be proud of that. It is a huge source of pride for him, given, as he has also spoken many, many times, that since he took over Inter, and something that the players feel pride over, the fact that they don't invest since he took over in the transfer window. They always turn a profit or go plus minus zero. I mean, he literally verbalized this, and that, to be able to compete on all three fronts when we don't have the biggest budget, that is a source of pride. I mean, that's the angle he's coming from. Personally, look, as I said, with all these injuries, Zalewski, Zielinski, Darmian, Di Marco, Thuram, Fratesi, Taremi, all playing on painkillers. Lautaro, whose fitness has been up and down all season. It's not, Acerbi just came back from a long injury. Calhanoglu just slowly coming to form. Look, it would take a miracle for Inter to win the treble, because again, look at their April. They have 5 games in the Serie A, 2 in the Champions League, 2 in the Coppa Italia against Milan, and potentially a third one as well in the Champions League, on a team that is already very depleted and very physically tired and mentally tired. I think it would be it's asking too much, and that's why I've been saying for like a couple of months now that Inter need to choose which tournament they go for, Inzaghi has to coach every single game now, from now until the end of the season. Every single one has to be a World Cup final. Now that takes a lot out of you mentally to charge for that. Physically, you can mitigate it, but it takes a lot out of you to go into with that attitude. He has to rotate. He knows that. I just don't see Inter having 3 titles in them this season. I think maximum 2. I think Coppa Italia and 1 out of Serie A and Champions League. They have to choose which one, because as much as we criticize Bayern Munich, look at them. It's a world-class team.
They lost at the weekend, though.
I know Vincent Kompany
against
is not
Bochum.
Yeah, that's fair. But
although they were down to 10 men in that game, but yeah, I don't know. I think
it's not realistic.
I look at the physical limitations. I look at the physical limitations of the team, and I'm inclined to agree with you. With the numbers.
And the depth as well, before the injuries. I mean, you have lots of players who they're relying on Marko Arnautovic, for heaven's sake.
But then again, this defence, and I know this is not an age or an era where being able to play Catenaccio is very conducive to success.
No, it's unfortunately not.
It's not.
Unfortunately not.
But having said that, though, I've seen Inter basically play in their own penalty area for pretty much 90 minutes against Napoli, and probably for most of the first half against Feyenoord as well, and barely concede a chance.
That's fair, but you can't win the Champions League.
I know they then let in two goals.
Well, exactly.
But I think that when they want to, I mean, they've conceded 1 goal in the Champions League this season.
Yeah, but if you look at the stats, they've actually conceded more touches in their own penalty area in the Champions League per game than they have in the Serie A. More XG conceded in the Champions League per game on average than in the Serie A. That's more down to chance than anything else. I think that sometimes they've had the ball go their way in the Champions League. I don't think that's more down to fantastic skill. And also against Napoli, look, Napoli created more than enough to score at least one goal. Let's be honest. Inter had one shot on target, one chance, and that was Di Marco's free kick.
Yeah.
They didn't have anything else. You can't, this isn't Mourinho's Inter. Mourinho's Inter was a team that had won 4 years in a row. They were used to winning. He sold Ibrahimovic and bought 5 starters for that money that all walked into the lineup and improved Inter, which allowed them to play
and
in
that
very
Serie
many
A,
different
there was no challengers at all.
Well, exactly. There was no challenge.
Actually, I take that back. They had to still win it on the last day. But
it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't realistic. I mean,
Yeah.
that Roma were going to win because Inter were better.
Yeah.
And if you look at that team, that was, look, Snyder, Eto'o, Maicon, Julio Cesar, Samuel, Lucio, Thiago Motta, Cambiasso, Diego Milito. I mean, all of those players were, if not the best in the world in their position, then certainly top 2 or top 3 at the time in their position, in their respective position in the world. Inter don't have the best goalkeeper in the world. They don't. They don't have the best right wing back in the world. They don't have the best striker in the world. They don't have the best midfielders in the world. Did you see what I'm saying? Like, it would take something unbelievable.
It's a tricky one. It depends, because like if you break down each competition, then you can say, well, Inter are the best team in Serie A, so they should be winning the Scudetto. They're the best team in the Coppa Italia, so they should be winning the Coppa Italia.
But if you look at the games that are left in the Serie A,
where are they based on the teams in the Champions League? Well, they're up there, so you think individually each competition they can do it. Who have they got after Bayern? They beat Bayern. Who's the semi-final? What's the semi-final?
Barcelona.
Is it Barcelona in the semi-final? Right. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, but I think it's when you combine.
I got to be honest with you.
When you combine them all together, it's.
I got to be honest with you. I think Bayern is a much trickier game than Barcelona. I think Barcelona have lots of weaknesses, and I think it's a team that suits Inter really well. Bayern, not so much. Leverkusen, not so much. But given how the draw was, I did still prefer them to play Bayern or Leverkusen in the quarters over playing Liverpool or Arsenal. Not Arsenal, Liverpool or Real Madrid or something like that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, there's a long way to go.
You've got to pick your poison, don't you? So
I think Bayern are vulnerable as well, especially defensively. They are. I think Barca are vulnerable defensively with their ridiculous high line.
Absolutely.
And so I think it's. But then
it's just the way that the thing about Bayern that I don't like that Inter struggle with, as opposed to Barcelona, is that Bayern are much more direct and quick. Barcelona still have their retaining possession identity, right? I know they're more direct now with Hansi Flick, but it's still a little bit less direct. Bayern are it's just straight line, and they pummel you. And it's teams that go at Inter directly like that with speed.
Yeah,
is a team that Inter struggle with. They're teams that Inter struggle against. And that's why I think that.
But then Barca are a lot more direct now as well.
They absolutely are.
With Hansi Flick, with a Bayern manager, But,
I know. I think
with Barca is that they will totally dominate the midfield against this kind of aging midfield, Inter midfield. But
I'm looking at the Bayern midfield, and I'm sorry, between Musiala, Kimmich, Sané, Müller, Coman, Gnabry, Goretzka,
it's a little bit.
Pavlovic,
It's more the attacking
Laimer.
midfield positions. The deep positions, I don't think they're as strong as Barca. Bayern. No. But
then they have Alphonso Davies. I mean, it's look. Bayern are a fantastic side. Let's be honest. Like they are. Their weakness is Vincent Kompany. We know that, right?
Yeah.
And I think everyone in the world agrees with you there. But I mean, if you look at the Bundesliga, they're 8 points clear of Leverkusen.
Harry Kane's finally going to win a trophy in his career.
Yeah, I mean, so that's that. I mean, and then you look at the other, like it's everyone likes to shit on Bayern Munich and Real Madrid until we reach this stage, and Bayern Munich cannot be like the quality they have is at some point it's going to have to make itself felt, even though they have Kompany on the bench. Barcelona to me suit Inter more. Like I said, of course they're more direct now with Hansi Flick, but they're also very vulnerable at the back. Bayern to me are much more solid at the back, and they're much more direct, and they're much more high intensity. And that's the kind of team that doesn't that doesn't suit Inter at all. So
The
People need
best
to
team
calm down.
I saw in the Champions League last week by a mile was PSG, and somehow they lost. Somehow they lost at home to Liverpool. So yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, they have the best goalkeeper in the world. That's why they managed to win that. I mean,
yeah.
I mean,
Anyway,
Alisson
listen, we'll come
Becker.
back. I'm sure we'll come back to this.
But I mean, look, I'll tell you this much. Let's come back to this
Yeah,
after the international break, because I think we have to see where Inter are fitness-wise. If they can recover, Zalewski, Darmian, Di Marco, if Spalletti doesn't call up Di Marco and piss Inter off and open war ensue between Inter and the FIGC, because if he does that, that will happen. Because Di Marco's not fit enough to play for Inter, but then if he recovers in time for the international break, Inter will lose their shit. There will be an open conflict between Inter and Italy, the national team, if that happens. So we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully they don't do it and they manage to maintain the peace. Yeah. And if they do, let's see where we are.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing though. Marko Arnautovic could win the treble twice with the same team.
If it happens,
15 years apart.
I mean, that's another thing. Like, it's Marko Arnautovic.
Not playing any role in either of them, basically.
Exactly. But it's like, well, and that's another thing. Marko Arnautovic, like, is it 2 trebles for Marko Arnautovic? Like, how likely does that sound?
He'll become like the Christian Karen Burr of modern football. Like crap player who wins everything, basically.
No, but you know what I mean, though. Like, doesn't it just ring wrong in your ears?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I just can't see that happening. I can see him maybe winning either the Serie A again or the Champions League again, but a treble. Nah.
Oh, no. Let's move on. We discussed Inter for way more than was planned for various reasons.